When we go through this process, I want us to try to either remember when we were in the position that I'm going to describe here, how it all begins and walking through this process. And if you can't remember that, realize, even though for you it may have been a little bit different or it's so long ago you don't remember it, that this is what everybody else is going through right now who's new, who's coming into this. And so we want to address from that perspective, what is the process and what are the steps that we should be going through and are likely to be going through as we are being called or drawn into covenant. And if we're being drawn into covenant, we're being drawn into community. The journey's almost always the same for everybody. It begins with the creator of the universe disturbing your peace, your shalom. Wherever you are in your life, at some point, he disturbs your shalom. In other words, you're chugging along, either you're happy or you're miserable or some state in between, but you've been sort of just going along the way you've always gone along, and at some point, he disturbs that whole apple cart. He overflips the apple cart on you and gets your attention. I'm not going to disturb their shalom the way the Father does. See, when the Father does it, you start looking for answers. If I do it to you, you just want to throw something at me. Or not friend me anymore, or unfriend me on Facebook, or whatever it is. You're not going to want to relate with me anymore. It's not going to stimulate you to seek answers. If I disturb your peace, you're just going to be mad at me. Do you see the difference? And we have to remember that when we're interacting with our brothers and sisters and parents and cousins and friends and coworkers, look for the signs that their peace has already been disturbed by the creator of the universe, not by a person. When your peace gets disturbed by him, meaning your heavenly Father, then you should be asking and seeking from him the answers you're looking for. Now, by the way, when you're seeking from him, he may lead you to a verse or he may lead you to a teacher. And by the way, this is a journey, and on a journey, you may need a guide. As a matter of fact, I promise you need a guide. We're going to get into quite a bit about the battlefield of the mind. That's where this is all taking place. Your biggest struggle is in the battlefield of the mind. You want his ways to be your ways instead of your ways to be his ways. In other words, you want to mold him into your image instead of you being molded into his image. There are things that you absolutely love, truly enjoy, that you no longer can have. And he says, look, stop holding on and justifying having it. Let it go, but go through that whole process of taking that joy and all your laughter and let it be turned to mourning and dejection. In other words, go ahead and cry over it and get it out of your system already and just let it go. Because there's so many things that you just won't let go, and that's causing you all kinds of problems. You can learn from 75 different people and have 75 different views. So it's not so simple as saying, okay, this thing that on one hand, one person tells me I can have it, the other person says I can't. One person says I can do this, another person says I can't. They're all reading the same book, they're all reading the same verses, and how come one says yes, one says no? One says do it this way, one says do it that way. Matter of fact, there may be 75 different flavors of all of those things. And so it becomes really tough. This is why you need the guide. You need to go and find you a guide. You need to do a good job of vetting that guide and knowing what you're doing in terms of knowing this is a person I'm going to trust to walk me through this process because really it is muddy. And don't fall for that biggest lie that's out there. The Ruach is just going to teach you. We got to make a conscious choice to choose Yah as he is over how I think he should be or how I want him to be or how everybody around me has told me he is or whatever influence is in there that influenced your preferences. This is the battle of the mind. Are you ready to accept him as he is? You know what? He did a lot of things in this book and said a lot of things in this book that in today's modern mindset, you may go, ugh, why did he do that? Part of the reason why we have a problem with our personal preferences is that we have this problem with our interaction with Babylon. Okay, I'm going to tell you, Babylon is not necessarily a physical place, although it is. There was actually a physical place called Babylon, and there was a kingdom of Babylon and all those kind of things. But Babylon is the system that keeps you away from your Creator in a proper manner. In other words, from truly embracing and interacting with Him correctly. He's saying, look, come out of her, my people. Don't be conformed to the world and the influences of your culture. By the way, that doesn't have to be the world in its most easy idea. It could be the world that still exists in the wheat and the tares sitting next to each other in your congregation. The tares represent the world still sitting there next to you. Or it could be you in a congregation, in the body, in the assembly. He says, don't be conformed to the world as the world may try to influence you, even on Saturday, even at a Shabbat service, even while you're trying to keep the Torah. He says, you've got to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means that you have to throw away thinking your way and start thinking His way. So you're expecting Him to do this for you. He's going to wave His magic wand and boom, you have a brand new mind. Shaul didn't see it that way. He told the Philippians, you need to let this mind be in you. The inference is that if it's not in you, it's because you're not letting it. You want to go look in the mirror and say, I've seen the enemy and it's me. I'm the problem. See, we're so good at blaming everybody. Stop blaming everybody. Take the blame and get over it. Go back to James chapter 4. Lament and mourn and weep and get over it. Humble yourself before the Master and say, yes, I realize I'm the problem. Help me. Are we still trying to justify that our image of Him is right as opposed to realizing that His image of Him is right? And we've got to get on board with that. Because that's what you see going on and on and on and on and on within the body and within yourself and in your walk, is that we're still trying to make Him what's comfortable and preferable to us instead of getting us in line with Him. So when we look at verse 31 here in John 8, it says, let us know that we are to, in order for us to be disciples, what do it mean? It means we need to be discipled, and then we have to learn what truth is, and then we have to have a knowledge of that truth, a relationship with truth. What is truth? We have to have a relationship with Yeshua, with the Torah, with the Word. This is all the truth. And if you have a relationship with the truth, guess what? You'll be set free. That makes a whole lot more sense than just getting a bunch of information somehow sets you free. The journey is just beginning. And as it's beginning, you're going to find yourself with loads of people that are going to want to guide you and lead you, including Babylon herself. But you're going to have to decide that I'm going to make a conscious decision, a conscious choice to choose Yah as He is and His ways as He describes them over anybody else's influence, whether it's self-sovereignty, cultural, or Babylon.